They're soaring, shocking, bubbling, and beaming. And on Wednesday, November 10th, you can catch them all in theaters for the first time. Pokémon, the first movie.
Be forewarned, if you haven't been already, the hottest thing in the 12 and under set is coming soon to a theater near you. Pokémon the movie joins Pokémon the video game and Pokémon the trading card as must-sees and must-haves.
When it comes to the biggest Pokémon craze, it has to be the trading cards. This 747 arrived today from Tokyo, packed with the latest collectible cards. Many school officials think the craze has gone too far.
This is going to be one of the hottest selling toys for the holidays. This is a talking Pikachu from Hasbro Toys, not even in the stores yet. It's going to be in next month.
Now, Iro, how do you answer the question? Is this just toy collectibles? Is it a movement? Is it a craze? Is it a state of being?
It's a craze for little kids to enjoy themselves with. Adults are not going to get into this a lot.
Adults are not going to get into this a lot.
Poké Mania versus
the PokéPOCALYPSE.
Ladies and gentlemen, as soon as I am done right here and now explaining tonight's giveaway, this very Poké-positive giveaway that is going to be in for this video here tonight, I'm going to explain that right now. As soon as I get done explaining that giveaway, I'm going to hit a timer with 20 minutes on it, and I am then going to spend the next 20 straight minutes unedited talking about Poké Mania in 1999 versus the Poké-Pocalypse in 2025, because as more time goes on, I realize I'm kind of in a little bit of a unique position here, being a regularly uploading PokeTuber in the year 2025, who was knee-deep very much in Pokemon in 1999. I, in fact, did pull a first edition base set Charizard. I'll talk about that. But, so 20 straight minutes, I'll hit a timer, and as soon as the timer is up, I'm done talking. That way I feel like I won't ramble too much, and it'll be from the heart. I have no idea what I'm about to say. But I remember very vividly the phenomenon that was Poké Mania, okay? So alright, tonight's giveaway right here and now, this is the second to final TCA Gaming giveaway. The dude gave me so much stuff to give away. I've already given away a lot. Tonight I will be giving away a Black Bolt in White Flare 3-pack blister, courtesy of TCA Gaming. So if you want to win a Black Bolt and White Flare, yes, one winner, both, yes, you will just write hashtag PokéPositive in the comment section. Once again, thank you very much, TCA Gaming. Okay, I am now going to hit the timer right now. Okay, 20 minutes, here we go. Okay, so 1999 versus 2025 Poké-Pocalypse. Okay, so first of all, right here and now, the term phenomenon. I don't even know if it's possible for things in this day and age, the day and age of the internet, and so many subcultures, sub-bubbles, sub-interests. I don't even think it's possible to have a true phenomenon anymore. The closest I can even come to saying maybe it would be like Labubu, and there's no way anyone would call the Labubu craze a phenomenon. It's just a craze. Kind of like right here and now, Pokemon is peaking. It's a craze. It is not a phenomenon. So in 1999, right off the bat, this was, you cannot go anywhere. No parents, there is not a single parent in 1999 or grandparent that did not know all of a sudden what Pokemon was. You literally could not be alive and not understand Pokemon. What is it? You might not know what it is, but you could not go a day without hearing about Pokemon. 2016, the Pokemon Go craze in June of 2016, when all of a sudden for one straight month you just seen thousands of people outside going like this. Imagine that for an entire year straight. That is the best way I can describe Poké Mania 1999. It is that level of excitement, that level of energy, but instead of for a month and a half, it went on for over a year. It went on for a year and a half into the year 2000. And it started in 1998, very late 1998, September of 1998, with the Pokemon Indigo League TV show, and of course Pokemon Red and Blue, the video games. I don't know if just to give you just to explain how far the video games have fallen. In 1999, the top 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 performing video games in the year 1999 were literally all Pokemon titles. Every single one of the top 5. Literally. From Pokemon Snap, Pokemon Stadium, Pokemon Red, Blue, Yellow, you had Sapphire, Ruby, Emerald. I'm just saying, not all that came out then, but I'm just saying, so many different Pokemon titles on so many different systems, culminating into all 5 of the best performing games in 1999 were Pokemon games, okay? And that's just the games. The TCG itself, in January of 1999, when the TCG drops, you already had full-fledged just craze on the television with the Indigo League TV show. You already had full-fledged craze with the video games on Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, that kind of stuff. And then the only piece that was missing was the TCG. And as soon as January hit, it was on. It was on like Donkey Kong, literally. So basically, January of 1999, the most famous TV show was the Pokemon TV show. The most famous and popular games, most talked about games, were Pokemon games. And the new hot thing, the creme de la creme, to be very specific, was first edition Base Set Charizard, but the TCG itself. So as soon as January comes, now we are talking firing on all cylinders. The only thing that wasn't yet at its peak, but would eventually become a massive deal for future for Pokemon Company, is the plushies. That's the only thing that wasn't yet exploded, because it takes time to make toys. You know, by Christmas of 1999, I think I clipped a Pikachu toy. The point is, every aspect of Pokemon was at its all-time 10 out of 10 best performing, most popular it had ever been, all at once in 1999. So, phenomenon right off the bat, that's the part I wanted to hammer down first. This was the biggest phenomenon in like pop culture history. So if you're wondering how Pokemon went from a couple Game Boy games, you know, and then a TV show to the biggest IP in the world, it is legitimately the imprint that 1999 PokéMania left on literally everyone across planet Earth. Straight up, okay? And as far as specific details, this is the part I really want to hammer down, is it was never about money. In fact, Beckett Baseball Magazine, every single kid in 1999 had like two subscriptions, Nintendo Power and Beckett Baseball Magazine. And the reason Beckett Baseball Magazine is because sports cards were popular in the 90s, and once Pokemon started going, yes, there was a section in Beckett Magazine, the Pokemon, the TCG section. I would check Charizard's price every single month. I very, very vividly remember first edition base set Charizard being worth $90. Okay, 90 bucks, and then you drop way down. We were like 30, 40, 50 bucks for Venusaur, Blastoise, some other stuff. So this entire phenomenon was backed by a Pokemon card that was only worth $90, which means money had nothing to do with this back then. In 1999, Poké Mania was just, you just wanted to be part of it. What is everyone freaking out about? What is so exciting? Why is every kid in every school, like, it's bad. Kids are fighting each other, kids are stealing stuff, trading stuff. It just, every kid could not, you had to like Pokemon. If you didn't like Pokemon, you were freaking weird back then. So all I'm saying is, back in 1999, it didn't matter that Charizard was only worth $90. That was a lot of money. First edition base set Charizard, 90 bucks. That again, that didn't matter. And then back then, every kid, everyone, first of all, parents straight up did not, unless you were Gary King Pokemon, kids, you know, do some chores. You get 3 packs over the weekend, 5 packs. It was one of them scenarios where parents are like, God, I just bought you 5 packs yesterday, and then I bought you 3 packs the day before, and I bought you 5 packs the day before, and I bought you 2. You know, but that was it. There was no such thing as booster boxes. I mean, there was. You didn't rip a whole booster box. Like, no kids were ripping booster boxes back then. That just was not a thing back then. And yeah, so you would open a lot less. And because you open a lot less, you know, I knew kids that owned a Charizard, okay? And then limited Charizard. But I was the only kid I even met in 1999. Like, the only kid in my elementary school who had a first edition Charizard. I was the only kid in my entire neighborhood who had a first edition base set Charizard. I was the only kid, even this huge housing development down the street where tons of kids lived, none of them owned a first edition base set Charizard. It wasn't until I changed schools, and it was like 6th grade, like a year and a half later, I met some kid named Michael, who finally, I met a kid who had a first edition base set Charizard. And even him, the kid, he got jumped by a bunch of kids. I remember in the courtyard, like at the end of lunch, and I seen his backpack go flying over because he got pushed down. I seen his binder with all his first edition base set cards just go flying in the wind into a bush. So I mean, after that day, I think I might have once again went back to the only kid with the first edition base set Charizard. And then let's talk about condition and grading and stuff like that, because there's this misconception that kids weren't into like things like looking for print lines. So I'll just give you the Charizard story real quick, and then I'm gonna start comparing things to PokéPOCALYPSE 2025. So first of all, Charizard, I'm at a mall, the South Hill Mall in Puyallup, Washington, at Wizards of the Coast, and I'm with my dad and his girlfriend and her 2 kids. We got some packs, just like I said. I think we got 3 packs each. This is February now, so I had been ripping packs for about a month, still hadn't pulled the Charizard. And long story short, we're standing right outside of Wizards of the Coast, about 20 feet outside of Wizards of the Coast, about 10 feet before the food court. I remember there's this Sbarro's Pizza, and then Wizards of the Coast right there in front of us. And I go to open the 3rd pack. Sure enough, it's red. We see it. This split second, we knew it was a Charizard. Literally, me, my dad's girlfriend's 2 kids, we just start screaming. My dad, the girl, they're just like, "What? Shut up! You're in the middle of a mall." And I turn. I don't even have the whole card out because I don't want to touch it. As a kid, I'm gonna leave some transparency here. I'm not gonna tell you exactly how old I was, but I will say I was basically as young as you can get and still be 2 digits. Okay, so I was, all right. But even as a kid, I didn't want to get any fingerprints on it. The second I calmed down, I noticed it had a print line from the edge of his snout, because he's breathing fire to the right, from the edge of his snout to the side of the card. So it had a very obvious print line. Other than that, perfectly centered. The point is, I remember after I calmed down thinking, shit, it has a damn print line. But still, immediately we go back into Wizards of the Coast, put it in the biggest glass hard case with screws. They were very popular back in the 90s, big, thick hard cases. And it was the only Pokemon card I ever owned that I actually did not play the TCG with, because even in 1999, as a kid, all kids knew, don't play with the Charizard. Like, you don't play with first edition base set Charizard. I had 2 complete first edition sets other than that, only having the 1 Charizard. Played with everything, all my first edition cards. Jungle, Fossil, base set, everything first edition, everything wrecked. Except for Charizard. Now, a lot of you, I'm just going to hurry up and tell you what I did with that Charizard, and then I'm going to get to PokéPOCALYPSE. First of all, base set 2, when people tell you how not popular base set 2 was, they are not exaggerating. Base set 2, when it dropped, was so incredibly lame that foreshadowing for the Team Rocket set was just about the only thing that kept a lot of people hanging on. I'm being serious. A large amount of the initial first wave of people, probably including myself, loved base set, loved Jungle, loved Fossil. We were always about first edition or bust, who cares about Unlimited? And then base set 2 drops, and it was just so freaking lame. And right around this time, the TV show had like a Jigglypuff episode where all Jigglypuff did was sing the entire episode. And every Saturday morning, by the way, that was another part. Every kid's routine was every Saturday morning watching Pokemon Indigo League, you know, going to Wizards of the Coast, going to the mall, getting the packs, trying to get some first edition Fossil, Jungle, blah, blah, blah. A lot of kids played in tournaments that were held every weekend at malls across the nation. But man, that first edition Charizard, oh god. Alright, I'm just gonna tell you right now what I did with the first edition Charizard. Because base set 2, because the TV show started to get a little lame, because I started to get high school age, because now it's a year later, and I'm almost getting into high school. It was the very end of 2021, it was Christmas. 2001! 01, not 2021. Long story short, within 2 years I was out, and a majority of people fell off. Digimon showed up, Yu-Gi-Oh showed up. Pokemon was starting to feel like for the younger 8 to 9, 7-year-olds, and now I'm almost in high school age. So, my first eBay sale ever. Kind of ironic, I ended up becoming an eBay seller 20 years later in life, a couple years ago. My first eBay sale ever was my first edition base set Charizard. Yeah, in December of 1999, and I sold... No! In 2001! Why do I keep saying the wrong date? Sold the first edition base set Charizard for $350 to a grandma who bought it for her grandson who may have been dying of cancer. So, you know, bittersweet. And again, it wasn't gonna get a 10, but still, obviously, yeah, so... If you're wondering why I don't value exceptionally expensive cards these days, it's because I already pulled and sold the holy grail of Pokemon TCG for $350. And in fact, in 2019, I bought a first edition gray stamp Charmander for $10 at a sports card shop, and later that year I sold it for $550 on eBay. I might be the only person on planet Earth who has sold a first edition Charmander for several $100s more than a first edition base set Charizard. So that's weird. You know, so anyway, shit happens. Yeah, so now we're gonna get into the PokéPOCALYPSE 2025. Whereas now it is about money. Now it is about scalping. Now it is about investing. The amount of cards worth the amount of money is insane. To go from Poké Mania when the most valuable card was $100 to $100 isn't even very valuable for a Pokemon card anymore. And it's not about being just part of the scene and that's good enough. It's now about what does the number say in your Collectr App? Like, what is your collection worth? And yeah, sneaker bros, scalpers, pardon me, resellers. That is kind of the scene we are unfortunately in PokéPOCALYPSE 2025. The thought of ripping 3 or 5 packs, that's nothing. Now, I mean, now you don't rip booster boxes because of how expensive everything has gotten. But obviously ripping a booster box and then even ripping another booster box and then ripping another booster box, and depending on which YouTuber you're talking about, ripping 35 booster boxes in a row, you know, that's commonplace now. And we live in a different world. I remember a time not so long ago where paying college athletes was a really big deal and you couldn't do it, and betting on sports was a really big deal and you couldn't even do it. Now it's commonplace. So to see the Pokemon scene, how much time do I have? To see, I got a little bit of time left. To see the Pokemon scene go from, you just want to know what everyone's freaking out about. You just, yeah, you want the Charizard, but even if you pull it, it ain't gonna change your life. These holos are 1 in 3 packs, you know, and yet people bought and ripped open so much less Pokemon back then that a holo rare Charizard that's 1 in 3 almost felt literally just as rare as some of the most hard to pull rarest cards these days. Because again, it just, the amount of degeneracy wasn't a thing back then. So, like the guy said in the beginning of the video, you know, this is a kid thing and it's all for kids. It's not for adults. The second you attach money to it, it's becoming a scene where it's like, thank God we have events like Card Party out there that go out of their way to focus on children and children and children. And tons of creators like Danny Phantom out there. You know, all the creators, all the people, all the organizations that do everything they can to try to remind the adults that at the end of the day, this is for children. And, you know, it's when you were a child that this IP had the impression on you. That's why 20 years later, you're back. Okay, and so to deny that from today's children, just because you want to make money because you can't make your money off your sneakers anymore. It's unfortunate because obviously I don't think it's going to get so bad that kids literally can't enjoy the hobby. It feels that way, but the point is kids will never be able to enjoy the hobby the way we got to enjoy the hobby when we were kids. When it wasn't about the money, it was just being part of it. Being part of the group that gets to go to see the Pokemon, the first movie in the year 2000, get your Ancient Mew promos, get your WB, get your Burger King, pay $1.99 at Burger King, and get your Pokeball with your gold Burger King card in it. Like, that's what it was all about, was trading with your friends, seeing if you could actually collect them all. Obviously, somewhere along the way, collecting them all, that got lost in translation, and it just became, how much money can you make? How much value can you stack? How big is your Collectr App? So, value. So all I'm saying is, like, it sucks because the reason Pokemon is so popular today is because it started in such a good place back then. But the reason I call 1999 Poké Mania and I call 2025 the PokéPOCALYPSE is because the intentions behind the people who are here. There's the love of the game, and then there's the love of the paper. And it used to be game, and now it's paper. And yeah, egos, everything else. Everything is different now. So, all I'm saying is, for me, I wouldn't be here. I probably wouldn't even be here, to be honest, if I didn't sell that first edition base set Charizard. Because, to be honest, like, the whole reason I became an eBay seller was a joke in my head when I moved to Arizona 4 years ago. I said, what if I spent the rest of my life selling Pokemon cards, trying to make up for the fact that I sold probably a $60,000 Charizard card? You know, and then next thing I know, I accidentally somehow became an eBay seller. And then one thing led to another, and then I started making YouTube videos, and here we are, 25 years later, after I pulled that first edition base set Charizard, and I am now into Pokemon as much or more, probably more than ever, to be honest, because as much as I eat, sleep, drink, just you name it, Pokemon in 1999, I feel like I've actually somehow turned the dial up a little more in the PokéPOCALYPSE 2025. Because, yeah, my bedroom didn't look like this in 1999. Like, I was into Zelda, Smash Bros. Like, I was really... Zelda Ocarina of Time. Turok, Dinosaur Hunter, Star Fox. Oh, God. I was a big-time Nintendo 64 guy. Final Fantasy and Pokemon. Those are my two biggest loves as a kid. Final Fantasy, Pokemon. And to see both Pokemon and Final Fantasy, I know it's separate, but both in the year 2025 making such huge comebacks in their own various ways. I'm just... There it is. Alright, the clock is up, guys. And I'm a man of my word. There it is. I will see you guys tomorrow on Hottest Cards of the Week. And if you would like to win the Black Bull and White Flare 3-pack blisters, PokéPositive in the comment section. Hashtag PokéPositive. Alright, deuces.
Gotta watch 'em all to catch 'em all. With me, McBrew, you'll never fall. Handsome shine, strength so tall. The Pokemon King.